What is up, everybody? This is the Ace from Pinfall Productions, and boy oh boy, are we in for one hell of a ride. One hell of a kickstart to the road to WrestleMania. We are just barely 2 weeks away from the 2025 edition of Royal Rumble happening in Indianapolis. And honestly, I feel like this is going to be one of the most stacked and epic Royal Rumbles that we would witness in a very long time. I think the first one since 2008, or some would say 2010. For me personally, 2008 was insanely stacked. We started off with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Like, who could even imagine a Royal Rumble starting with Prime Taker and Michaels? Almost everything about that Rumble was iconic, with it happening in Madison Square Garden and the announcer being Buffer, with John Cena returning after a long pec injury, surprising everybody, and not just returning but also winning the Rumble. We had the likes of Triple H in the match, Batista, Mark Henry, as well as CM Punk. We had a returning Mick Foley, Mr. Kennedy, Shelton Benjamin, The Miz. At that time, there were too many stars, and it was a perfect blend of legends, active wrestlers, and rising stars. And I feel like that is exactly what we're about to have and witness in 2025. One of the hallmarks of a truly stacked Rumble is its ability to combine legends, top-tier current superstars, and breakout rising talent. And the 2025 Royal Rumble will do exactly that. At least that's what I predict. We're gonna have legends, living legends like John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, bring the nostalgia and the decades of credibility, and most probably a surprise entrance from The Rock as well. And we're gonna have the top stars, current stars who represent the future of WWE. And I think he can do a pretty good job in that Rumble. It would make a true generational clash. So without further ado, let's get to my predictions of every single entry from 1 to 30, and who think, just to shock everybody, I think that the first two superstars will be none other than CM Punk and Seth Rollins. It would just make sense, wouldn't it? They've been having this feud, these constant back and forth promos since CM Punk's return. Almost every other week, in between different storylines, somehow Seth and Punk do come face to face with each other. They do have a war of words. They finally had their match on the Netflix premiere on Raw, and I feel like it would just make sense for these two superstars to start off the Rumble. They could have a perfect clash, go back and forth with one another, and then we could proceed to entrant number 3 with another huge pop if Penta El Cero Miedo shows up. We already saw how much the crowd is behind him and backing him up with his debut last night. It just goes to show how big of a legend he is in the world of pro wrestling and how big of a legacy he has built over the years. So I would go for Penta to be number 3, followed with probably Kofi Kingston from the New Day on number 4. And we could have Carmelo Hayes coming in at number 5. And LA Knight showing up at number 6 with a huge pop for himself as well. And then we could have Jimmy Uso at number 7. That's when I would like to think that the whole Bloodline Alliance would start to form for this match. Then we would have probably Xavier Woods followed at number 8, trying to help Kofi Kingston, teaming up with him and attacking others. And we could have Shinsuke Nakamura at 9. It would be interesting to see this dark side of his be a part of the Royal Rumble, to see what he could do probably with the Mist and whatnot, and a little bit of exchange of blows with LA Knight, somebody he's already feuding with. And then at number 10 we could have none other than the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, another one of the OGs, somebody who's been around for over a decade, and another name, another star who just adds to the star power of this Royal Rumble, which is exactly what I mentioned earlier on, and it's just filled and packed and stacked with huge stars, huge names who've been around for a long time, and you just love to see a Rumble like that. And we've been missing that element of not just surprise, but Just the element of familiar faces and element of how grand Royal Rumble is supposed to feel. After Sheamus on number 11, I would like to see none other than the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, just to pace up the match a bit, a mix of speed and technical ability. And we would then have him followed with number 12, none other than the main event, Jey Uso. Bloodline drama would intensify, would have a little reunion of the Usos again. Then we would all just be awaiting the arrival of the OTC, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, just to fully form the bloodline in the Royal Rumble match. In the meanwhile, I would probably see Melo getting eliminated, maybe Shinsuke along with Xavier and Kofi Kingston as well along the way. Penta, I think, could also get eliminated probably early on in the match. Maybe not, who knows. Maybe I'd like him to stick around until probably number 13 when Rey Mysterio would show up and we would have a little Lucha Libre brilliance, a bit of face-off between the two Lucha legends, Rey Mysterio and Penta. Maybe they could form an alliance. Maybe they could just go head-to-head with one another. And then we would have at number 14 none other than the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre eyeing on Seth Rollins and CM Punk and just entering the match, claymoring everybody, and finally getting his hands on CM Punk again as well as Seth Rollins. Then we could have at number 15 none other than Chad Gable, somebody who put on one hell of a match with Penta this past Monday. I would like to see him under midway, mid-match. And following him, I would book Powerhouse to be at number 16, somebody like Braun Breaker. He could have his fair share of fight with none other than Chad Gable, renew his rivalry a bit, or probably continue his rivalry with Sheamus. No, the champions are still allowed, other than the WWE and World Champion. So it would be interesting to see both the US and the Intercontinental Champion be a part of the Royal Rumble this year. And then finally, on number 17, the guy who is going for his 17th championship, the face that runs the place, John Cena. It would just make so much sense. It would be a nice little subtle nod to the fact that he's going for his 17th championship. And people would erupt, the whole crowd would erupt, and it would be real interesting if he could just enter the match and just start throwing people out, just like Super Cena. It's been a while since we saw that version of him, and I don't think he's ever done a lot or handful of eliminations in any of the Rumbles, even in the Rumble that he won in. Probably max 4 or 5 eliminations, so I would be happy to see him do a bit more this time. We could have at number 18, another OG, The Miz, adding his sneaky tactics and humor. And we could have him followed with R-Truth at number 20. And I'm hoping that we would have another funny angle, some goofiness from R-Truth, which would add to the Rumble, which he does almost every year. It would just make it perfect. And we could have at number 21, the Apex Predator, another returning legend, Randy Orton. He's been gone due to his neck injury that was handed to him by Kevin Owens because of the piledriver that he put him through at one of the SmackDowns a few months ago. And it would be a great return because nobody's really expecting him to be back soon and nobody's really teasing his return, or there's no rumors as well. So I would hope that they could keep this a secret and they could have Randy return at the Rumble. And then we could have at number 22 none other than Logan Paul. I already know that he's planning to take this WWE gig real serious, so it would be interesting to see his athleticism and cocky antics, which I would like to be followed by none other than Kevin Owens at number 22, who would be enraged probably because of the loss that he would have to deal with earlier on the night by losing to Cody Rhodes, because let's be real, we all know Cody is not losing that championship anytime soon, probably not before WrestleMania at least. So a defeated Kevin Owens, an enraged Kevin Owens would enter the Royal Rumble trying to target everybody and anybody just so he could get a shot at that championship and at Cody Rhodes one more time. And we could have the next few spots filled with the rising stars such as Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, probably a call-up from NXT, maybe Trick Williams would be a great addition to the Rumble. All of these being followed up until we're left, and of course Dominic Mysterio having the nuclear heat of boos from the whole Indianapolis crowd, and him instantly just going against his deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio. This would all be a decent few additions to the Rumble match until we're left with the final three. And on number 28, I would like Solo Sikoa to enter, try to beat up the Usos and try to enforce them as if he's the real tribal chief and try to win the Rumble. And he's had a pretty decent year, so he deserves that number 28 spot. And then on number 29, we could have Sami Zayn enter the match because he would see Solo trying to beat up the Usos. So then we could have a little numbers game and finally turned on Solo with a 3-on-1 from Sami, the Usos, 3 of them going against Solo, trying to beat him up. And then, of course, at number 30 is somebody we would all be predicting, since we all know that this guy has already announced himself in the Rumble and hasn't shown up, so everybody would know who the number 30th entrant would be. I would like it to be none other than the OTC, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. I think he deserves that final spot considering the way he has defended the championship and the years that he's given us, the amount of entertainment he's given us over the past 4 years. I think the number 30 spot is well deserved. None other than Roman Reigns would be returning to Royal Rumble after almost 4 or 5 years. The reason being that he's been champion for so long, he never needed to enter the Royal Rumble. But since we're fantasy booking, there would be this little twist that I would add to the Rumble, and I think you guys must have seen it circulating around and some dirt sheets, some fake rumors and this and that, but I would really love for that to happen, and that would be for the first time ever a number 31 entrant, which would be none other than the final boss, The Rock, who would just enter because he can. He can do things because he can. He's the boss. He's a member of the board of TKO. He's already mentioned that multiple times, and he keeps on changing rules, bending rules, dropping F-bombs, doing whatever the hell he wants. So it would just add to the story. It would make sense, and it would be really entertaining to see the look on everybody's faces, especially when the counter would go up again and everybody would be thinking that, wait, all 30 members are already in. Why is the counter up again? And as soon as the buzzer would ring, we would hear The Rock's music hit. The whole crowd would erupt. The look on Roman's face, the look at Cena's face. Just be a very cool moment, a cool Royal Rumble moment, something that we haven't witnessed in a very long time. By that time, I would like final 5 or the final 4 superstars in the ring to be none other than CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and Seth Rollins. It would make sense. 2 people from the past, 2 people from the present, and then we could have number 31st, The Rock, entering, probably costing Roman Reigns the match. Maybe not directly eliminate him, but probably have an angle where Roman eliminates The Rock, and because he's so focused on The Rock, he doesn't realize that Seth from behind eliminates him instead. And then we could have Seth from behind being eliminated by none other than his arch nemesis, CM Punk. Then we could have CM Punk and John Cena as the final 2 members in the Royal Rumble match. They could go back and forth with one another, renew their rivalry, something that everybody's been waiting for almost 1 decade, and it would just be so nostalgic to see them both in the ring and see them both be the final 2, and we could have either one winning the Rumble. Honestly, I would not mind either one of them. I would love for Cena to win and go for his 17th championship and book his spot at WrestleMania main event. And if that doesn't work out, if WWE decides to go the other way, then I would not mind that either. He could lose the Rumble, win the Chamber, and still go to WrestleMania. We could have CM Punk finally win his first ever Royal Rumble match and headline WrestleMania and make his decades-long dream finally come true. Finally book his ticket to the WrestleMania main event spot. And then the next Monday, he could choose whichever champion he would like to face, probably Cody, or even Gunther for that matter. But that's something for after Royal Rumble, something we could discuss later on. However, this was my entire prediction and my entire set of entrants that I think would enter from number 1 to 30, my final 4, and my prediction for who is going to win the Royal Rumble this year. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment to tell us and let us know what you guys think should happen, or who the entrants should be, who the winner should be, who the final 4 should be. It would be really interesting to hear your thoughts, and make sure to turn the notification bell on just so you know exactly when the